Welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you the part 3 of overcoming challenges on a carnivore or a keto diet. So if you missed part 1 and part 2, I will link the videos down in the description box below. So in part 1, I actually shared a little bit more on why I wanted to do this video. So I'll like these videos to be quite brief. So if you want to know why I've decided to talk about, doing like a series about overcoming challenges, please check out part 1 of the video. So in part 3, I would like to dedicate this video just emphasizing and talking about the tips about digestion issues. I think this is something very common for people who just, have this drastic change in their diet, Although elimination diet is one of the best ways to really find out what is the root cause in your health issues. Going really clean and just eating meat only, it's really a powerful healing tool. But when you do such a drastic change, you should expect some kind of adaptation phase where, one of the thing is people have a digestion issues that they instantly think that, oh, you know what, this way of eating is not going to work for me, and then they revert back to the unhealthy way of eating. I'm not saying that everyone should do a carnivore diet in order to be healthy, although that has made me the healthiest that I am today and not the people that I know. But there are people who function very well doing keto, having some kind of plant foods, as long as you're not like on a processed food diet, but I guess this could be, maybe you want to explore carnivore or keto just temporarily, just to reset things. A lot of us are actually not wanting to do this long term. So if you are trying to get into this whole ketogenic state, to have mental clarity, body recomposition, to improve your mental health, having some of these challenges away will help you to reap the benefits better from this way of eating. So I have summarized digestion issues into just 3 points that I'm going to share in this video. So the most common that I've heard is bloating, constipation, and diarrhea. So that is loose stool. So I'm just going to share with you my experience working with other people to help them to alleviate all these digestion issues, and also from my own personal experience with some quick tips. So now let's talk about bloating. Bloating is a sensation that you have after you eat, and you will just feel like you're burping a lot, that it's very gassy. Oftentimes it's quite painful, and it can cause you that kind of like stabbing sensation or cramp in your stomach, like as if you are having indigestion. So and one physical a aspect that you can notice when it comes to bloating is, obviously you will look like you are a few months pregnant. You have this extended hard belly sticking out, and that is actually a sign that your body is not sitting well with the food that you just ingested. Sorry to say this, but if you are doing carnivore correctly, strictly, in a very clean way, and if you don't have any previous medical condition of like taking too many antibiotics, ruining your gut, normally when people go on carnivore, they would not have bloating at all. They will have the best digestion they ever have in their entire life. It's a very light, it's like you have a meal, you're very full, but you feel very light. You don't have that feeling like as if you had like a Thanksgiving dinner, or like you go on a feast and you have this extended stomach kind of feeling. That doesn't happen to carnivore diet. But if you're new to carnivore, or if you're using carnivore as something to cycle in and out, as part of your lifestyle, you might have temporary kind of bloating or adaptation kind of like side effects. So one of the most common cause of bloating is if you eat rendered fats, like they always advise us to eat fatty cuts of meat, right? But what we kind of fail to advise people is, please wait like 10 minutes or let the steak or the fatty meat cool off first before you dive into it. So one of the most common mistake is people will eat like that very hot um, melted fat kind of fatty meat, right, straight off after they cook it, right? And that very warm or melted fat that is still hot, when you ingest it, it does cause some kind of digestion issues. um, Probably it's because maybe your body doesn't have enough digestive enzyme to like properly digest it. This is one of the most common cause is after they immediately eat rendered fats that is straight off from the stove or the air fryer. It causes bloating easily. If you are a fan of like ground beef, right, and then you cook it all in the frying pan, and then it has all this melted fats, it becomes this oil, of like tallow. It's not really tallow because it's not like solid, but it's just liquid form of animal fat. And then sometimes the mistake that people make is they would eat the ground beef together with the liquid fat. That is one way for sure that you're going to cause some kind of bloating. I personally don't think it's very damaging, but it's just very uncomfortable. And if you're trying to reduce that, probably wait for your meat to cool off a little bit before you eat it. Something that I noticed was like those slow cooked oxtail, in the slow cooker. All the fats that is floating up on the soup, right? If I try to drink the soup with that rendered fats there, I will immediately after that notice something, there's a party going on in my stomach after that, and I will feel this extended kind of feeling, like as if my body is reacting at me for not eating it, for not waiting for it to cool off before I eat it. Yeah, so that's one tip there. If you're eating dairy, that is one common cause as well. Things like cheese, or maybe you're not doing a very very clean carnivore diet. You could be, based on your lifestyle, you could be ordering like things from fast food restaurants, like beef patty and cheese, and sometimes the cheese is not the raw kind, the clean kind, and it's processed. There might be preservatives in it that will cause you to have bloating. I have a friend that actually, always have bloating after they eat like those salami, those what is that called? Oh gosh, I don't even remember. Those kind of like, it's not really processed meat. It's just that it has all these preservatives or like vinegar in it that can potentially cause you to have some kind of bloating initially. Another personal experience of mine is that I notice I will get bloating easily if I were to, let's say, order out. I eat at a restaurant, and if I don't try to be the strict person that I am and tell the waiter or the waitress to just cook the meat as it is, they will try to put like olive oil, they will marinate it, and then they will grill it with the olive oil, which is horrible. Or if they put like some kind of butter that is not grass fed, or sometimes I will even tell them, can you just grill the meat without any butter, just on its fat? They will do that. But if I forget to tell them to remove pepper, or if they accidentally include pepper in it, I noticed that would actually cause me to have bloating. So things like olive oil, when it's marinated together with the meat, when it's grilled, sometimes you eat out, you just think that I don't want to be difficult, I just want to order the steak as it is, but you don't pay attention to the little things, you don't know how they cook it. So those kind of things can actually trigger bloating. Another personal experience that I have when it comes to spices is that my husband and I, sometimes on the weekends, we will go on this buffet, like a Japanese hot pot, where you can order it's like a shabu shabu, like a different kinds of meat, and then they will give you this giant bowl of boiling soup. Usually I will ask for just boiling water and then he will get the spicy. And sometimes because it's, you know, because it's one bowl that has a divider in between, sometimes his spicy soup would like go over mine, and I will taste a bit of that spice. um and then I will notice that immediately, like few hours after that, right, I will have some kind of bloating. So that tells me that some people cannot do spices. So things like pepper, a little bit of chili, you know, uh, you might need to be a little bit careful with that, because that is considered, if I'm not mistaken, under the nightshade. So a lot of people don't do well with nightshade, especially if you have autoimmune issues. Obviously, I can't just ask you to remove dairy. If you really want great results, I think you should. But if you feel like dairy is helping you to stick to a carnivore diet, maybe sometimes you wanna don't do so much of it, but you alternate it with things that has similar mouthfeel to dairy, because dairy is very creamy, right? You could do more butter, like grass-fed butter from Carnivore, or you can, you know, eat, obviously scramble up a bunch of egg yolks. It will have very similar texture to cheese. So I think this, like using egg yolk or using butter as a replacement to some of the dairy that you're eating, like cheese, should help you to lessen the chances of you getting bloating. Alright, so let's move on to digestion issue number 2, which is constipation. So one thing that I need to stress out, hopefully you're new to this whole carnivore thing, or even keto, because this tip is going all over, and it's something that people still overlook, you know. Even sometimes I try, the people that I coach, I try to remind them over and over again, they still cannot get it off their mind that, you know, it is normal to not go to the washroom every day or twice a day. I don't know who set that kind of standards, but if you are doing keto or you're doing carnivore, you, especially when you're just eating meat only, do know that meat is very bioavailable to the body. It means that, you know, you eat that piece of steak, it's gonna get it's gonna get digested, right? 100% full. That is what it means by bioavailable. But if you eat a lot of grains, plants, a lot of non-bioavailable food, right, you will normally have more waste. More waste meaning to say more stuff when you're doing your number 2, right? I'm trying my very best to talk about this in a very elegant way, and I hope that I'm doing that right. So if you're on a carnivore diet, eating meat only, it is totally normal to not go on a daily basis, right? You will hear a lot of the influencers, you know, on YouTube. They're so open, they share with you what it's like for them. It was also kind of shocking to me when I heard, you know, one of them actually go like only twice a week. I think everybody is different, but one thing that can connect all of us that are eating meat only is that we don't go on a daily basis, and we don't go more than once in a day, right? You can go probably alternate days. Sometimes it's once every 2 days, once every 3 days. That's the most common that I heard, and it's completely normal, because if you're only eating meat, your body is digesting all of it. So the waste that is going to come out is going to be a lot less. Okay, that's one. Or it's, you're not going to go and do number 2 very frequently, as compared to if you're eating things that are not bioavailable to your body. I just wanted to clear that out in case you think that you have constipation. Maybe you don't have constipation, so that's something to think about. Constipation, I think the feeling is that, you know, you can actually feel it, that it's not a light sensation that you have in your body. You know that something is there and there's somewhat of a discomfort for sure, like you want to go and do number two but number two is not happening. I would say that if you're new, the first few weeks is normal. Eventually you will regulate. When I first went on carnivore, it was kind of scary for me too. I was like, wow, am I ever gonna go to the washroom? But mine wasn't too bad because mine normalized, after a few weeks, and then I didn't feel any discomfort. So after that, when I did a lot more research, when I saw a lot of the influencers out there on YouTube talking about it, I felt like, oh, okay, then this is normal, I'm fine. So if let's say you're really sure that you're having constipation, so one thing that you should have in your checklist is, are you getting enough electrolytes? Maybe this is new for you. You are jumping straight into eating meat only and you're not supplementing with electrolyte. Your body is in this state where it's trying to balance itself, trying to adapt to the new change that you just implemented. You might need some form of temporary aid in the beginning, like electrolytes, so that your body can run what it's supposed to be doing. So if your electrolyte is not in balance or you don't have enough of it, it might cause constipation. Tip number 2 is, I noticed that people who include probiotics, they do go to the washroom more regularly. It's a lot easier for them. So if you want to go on a route of supplementing, I don't think it's something you should do forever or for long term, for more than 3 months. Maybe you just want to cycle in some probiotic just to ease things for a little bit and then taper it off and stop it for a while before you do it again. So probiotic can help. And my last tip is, although it's not highly recommended, is so the people in the carnivore space know that if you immediately eat rendered fats that is hot, that is really fresh from the frying pan, when it's still like liquidy, it's really hot. If you eat that straight, right, and you eat a lot of it, you will go to the washroom like immediately, right? But I don't think that's very healthy to do. Probably my advice to you is, maybe you're doing very high protein, not enough fats. That can also cause a constipation. So maybe you wanna, make sure that you're eating enough fats as well in order to kind of like smoothen the whole adaptation phase. Now let's talk about the third, which is loose stool or diarrhea. Not very sexy at all, I must admit, but it's something that I do need to talk about, that I could give some tips, and hopefully you can avoid all this, because honestly, having loose stool is not something that you want to have, because after you eat something and you straight away go to the washroom, your body is clearly not digesting any of it, even if it's like really like high quality grass-fed meat with all the nutrients inside. You're eating organ meat, but you straight away go to the washroom. Not ideal. So I think first things first is, if you're new to it, if you're still in your first week, second week, even your there's a bug. Even if you are like just 1 month into carnivore, you're still having some kind of loose stool, diarrhea. Okay, first thing to check off is making sure again, when you cook your carnivore meal, when it's a fatty cut of steak, all those liquid fat, melted like fat trimming, don't eat it when it's hot. That is when it's going to cause you to go to the washroom like immediately. Liquid fats turn into, what I'm going to say next. Anyways, it doesn't happen to a lot of people, but this is one of the most common one. So I think as a start, maybe just make sure that you wait a few minutes before you eat that hot meat, just to kind of like avoid this kind of situation where where your stomach is running. I also realized that spices can trigger people to have diarrhea very easily, especially those like the not pepper, but more of like cayenne, those like red chili flakes. It tends to have this laxative effect for some reason when people eat it with like fatty meat and protein. Spices can trigger also that kind of indigestion feeling, and then you will see that after that you're going to go to the washroom and it's going to be loose stool. So loose stool is not a good sign because water is coming out as well, and so number one, your body is not digesting the good food that you're eating, and then you're losing water, which means your electrolytes is going to be messed up. So in the beginning I think it's fine, but if it continues, do relook into how you prepare your meal, your fatty meat. Are you eating your cooked fatty meat a little bit too fast and not letting it cool off? One particular supplement that can help you to kind of reduce all these loose stool effects during your adaptation phase, even it's just good to have it in your toolbox in case you have any indigestion. I think a good digestive enzyme can help. The one that I'm using is actually from Source Natural, not sponsored. I wish I am, but it's not very expensive. It's Source Natural's Essential Enzyme Digestive Aid. So whenever I feel like I'm about to have some kind of indigestion or I'm gonna have like loose stool, I'll just pop one of this, and then immediately that pain or that feeling goes away. So it has helped me a few times, and including my husband when he was eating keto. When you're eating a lot of high fat, and sometimes when your body is still not used to it, you kind of have this kind of effects. Digestive enzyme can help. So that is something worth looking into if you're still having some kind of digestion issues when you're doing keto or carnivore. Alright, so this is the end of part 3 on how to overcome some of the challenges that you can face on a ketogenic or a carnivore diet, specifically in this video, digestion issues. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you find the tips useful. Let me know if you tried it. Let me know if it helps you. It will really help my channel a lot and help me to know what kind of content that you actually enjoy. If you have any other topics that you'd like me to talk about, or any challenge that I have not covered since my part 1 and 2 and this particular one, let me know in the comment section below. If there's a particular challenge that you're facing and that I didn't cover in part 1 and part 2 and even in part 3, please let me know in the comment section below. I think I'll be really curious to know and see if I can do a video talking about it if I have experience with it. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.